Okay, Salty Dog, I mean, I'll do my best to try to explain the issue to you about why I haven't finished this. I could finish many different variations of it, right? This is in line to a conversation I was doing in Multi-Domain Battlefield as a warning to the Biden administration from, oh, fuck, never remember his name. Um, Shit. Oh, crap. Yeah, I usually call him a salty suit, so it's not really that bad to me. What the fuck is going on here? Okay. It was. Brian. How would you provide this warning to somebody about, well, I was setting it up on multi-domain battlefield and how it command. This is, without this warning, I'm not really getting what we're looking at. I mean, there's no reason to kick him in the balls like that. That just seems like a Sharps violation. There's lots of ways to harden you. Yes, the enemy is going to attack you in the balls, of course. But is it fundamental that I train them for a kick in the balls? Will it ever be a less of a kick in the balls or a surprise for what it is? I mean, I could start putting cigarettes out on them because a phosphorus round could come through, and that's just equally as sensible, right? I didn't leave a physical scar, but basically you could have potentially augmented the neutering process, and that is not what we are doing here. Firstly, that is, if for some reason in a medical aspect, well, now you don't have a little soldier where there was before because you don't give a fuck because it's your kid and you couldn't really pay for him across the board anyways. The only thing you can do is kick these boys in the balls and make sure that they don't have fucking children. That's the only thing you can say to them. So why don't I ramp up lethal injection and abortion the way I should, instead of kicking brothers in the balls? A little late for that fucking bad day on the farm now, don't you think? And God knows how many times they make them do it. My point here is, again, you are weak in a lensing variable of some kind of transition of Venus that you're missing here by local populations. Let's get back up into here. Why don't I do that shit for free? Well, one, it's free. Somebody's paying for it to do that, and I'm not just going to give them my opportunity and for them to then take my technique beyond what I want to give them for free and do that. So I did some parts. I got them motivated. I got them going. Good on you. Do your fucking job. The rest of it can be for me in my books. But the truth of the matter is, when I go to this site, and all these pink ones inside here that are listed, I have them actually, here we go. All the places, these are command nodes, Deke. Right? Your Iron Mike is going, or well, the teacher, whoever we had, the veterinarian is the EMT department, because that's the best we have, and I will learn from Deke in her simulator how to do certain veterinarians. Fix a few burns. We have Neosporin and roughly this many gauzes go on an issue of the arm or the leg in a multi-domain battlefield like that. Let's get up here to some other derivatives of it. Where I'm just do is beneficial for me in the stone mill to actually come in here and reference, which ones do we want? We go this way first. This was my local azimuth. There's only so many jobs. It doesn't matter what site you get inside of there. At what distance does that pay system matter? That, this is a rural area. I can't have somebody doing 18 here, 18 here, 12 over here, and expect 15 for the exact same job as far as node sites to be something that I can accept. It's going to have that 300 IQ system on side here. I'm sure you've all seen it on the internet. Here's the skid steer with this attachment on it that'll pick this thing right up in the bucket. That used to be me. We're all fucked, boys. That used to be our whole career base. So if we don't figure out a way to automate this, even with that machine inside of here, then we're going to get railroad. What we can expect is our Cutcos at the Scal House to increase, right? This is the human body at its zenith, as far as not just my body, but the comparison of my body and my foundation to somebody else's inside of those areas, which gives me Berkeley partial experiments of the nucleus and a hydrogen proton smashing into it, or a packet of them, a bunch of stonemasons with these hydrogen protons. They're above the below. I'm not losing money, so they're positive at least, or a neutrino that I can compare inside of that. Against these guys, that guy is a 0. Against somebody who hasn't ever done it, that is still a 1, but it's compared inside of a set that is defined as a superposition or a quantum entanglement issue. And these issues will rip you down. I mean, they really will. They get you in a fight with the boss. Here's the guillotine. You know, any of these positions can go down. When I took this station and we applied it into how to grade a rock, I don't have it inside here, but it's basically a quantum mechanics map. You have a ball, you have a line, and you have some kind of globular shaped object, and that's parcel A, B, and C. If I needed the physics in floating point range, well, then I have to have, it at least defined in the ball, the point, the pebble, or the rock or the boulder or the heavy wall, that goes into some mathematical range. A pebble is a pebble. It weighs under a pound. A rock weighs 5 pounds to 10 pounds, and a boulder weighs 10 pounds to 50 pounds. 50 pounds above is heavy wall or something. And that's that range. It's a very dangerous thing to be aware of as far as a spinner and how you apply those inside of the state. So, back here, Deke, to collapsing all those universes in a Blackline SCP. Go check it out. Blackline SCP. They'll be talking about Wizard Point and Crater Lake. And these are very specific things because I can imagine it being built at the time. Maybe not rendered well before they released it into the public about what it was during 2002 or 2011. I forget what it was when that new computer engineering was coming out like that, and how to apply it into something that wasn't just fucking Sarah and Deke down here, but instead a multi-domain battlefield of your personnel, your human operations, your resources, your operation, your human operations, your physical maps, your financial references, and any kind of back where that loops back around, that the human operation and the financial and resources that you have to that can actually lay to that invert square relationship in this model. That's my brother. He's a chief in the Navy or something like that. Now me looking at it the other day, talking about some 39-year-old that died in the military about why the hell they couldn't recruit me into this issue for the military. Makes you bring up questions. Here's this 39-year-old that died on time. I don't know, they gave him a heart attack, or maybe there was some preconditions, but you told me I can't get in there. Well, what kind of bullshit is this? It's one of those things. You gotta take it as the warning. Be glad that I haven't shot down the place or fucking run in there with Molotov cocktails, you fucking retards. But back to this. Why don't you finish it? Why not do that? Well, there's a big issue about whether I can actually do the bar or not. Let's see if I can find one of my pack designs inside of here. I actually had to go to a board factory before I could guesstimate what the board factory was actually doing. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, here we go. I can guesstimate that, but I didn't really know what their pack sizes were. These are 42 inches by the length of the base, which I think is also 42 inches. And how you strap those on there is a process. And, you'll see things like there'll be different sizes boards inside of here. You'll have to clean off the scrap ends of it. That's not something you can know from the outside without observation. Now, sure, I've used a ratchet strap before inside of here. But when in the technique and also to a chart, would that make any sense whatsoever? Right? You got to be down there on the books. Otherwise, this nightly Cutco or First Ship's Cutco about when you turn down the saws, when you turned off the saws, that's a mechanical, quantum mechanic process. It makes sense, but do you really know that that's what the steps are in here? Here, this is a process I walked. I know for sure, at least between the terms here, all those steps happen. Did it make it a miserable nightmare for me? Sure. But there's a fundamental box that you need to be in for a little while to make sure that you are graphing as a time frequency domain correctly inside of here. When invertly, my Cutcos are going to be all through. We had 3-foot blocks this night, 8-foot blocks this night. I had 12-foot blocks I had to rock back, cut in half before I had to get in that saw. It can come at you in any configuration like that. So what did you do to catch that rabbit in the box? So again, inside of here, you got to look at this and say, from a legal perspective, I'm going to go about a First Amendment audit in a lot of different respects about the infinite beginning of that process, getting accelerated or reacceleration or acceleration of what I learned in the civics office, in the town office for modeling this stuff. And I've tried, I've tried to get the job as the water treatment person. I've tried to get on the DOT. I have tried to get on the state crew. I have tried to be in the military multiple times. And they still won't let you into the system. And I can't figure out why. Was it a local problem or not? Because eventually that stuff's going to erode across the board. I'm going to assume if probability has anything to do with it and my issue locally, then there's going to be a lot of that issue other places as well. When I get the Geico counter out here to the Bohr model of this infinity and future infinity past bullshit, I'm going to start moving this way to it, or I'm moving away from the radiation. It argues how the cat got close to that kind of radiation source and didn't feel good, but when I started censoring it, I know you have to be that far away from that goddamn thing for a period of time, or the floating point range of how close you can be to it to a period of time, given those scalar bananas. So inside of here, you're just trying to run around like Deke, do your best Schrodinger's equation you can in a Berkeley integral of some stone mill you've been running on a cut coefficient like that. Different mill, different building. And in here, you're just going to do that. Are there all these corporate vehicles over to Mercedes? This is a pretty empty parking lot. You guys doing good? I don't have a Mercedes faculty around me. Shit, nobody knows how to sex their plants, so I got 10-foot fucking mals out there while Jose Cervantes just tearing my ass off for not fucking being able to sex my goddamn plants and waste head range, you know what I mean? And that's just for my own personal little thing inside here, because I run. I run individually. I'll run as a team. This is our building. This is how long it would take you to clean it. This is the inventory of all those horse stables over there. Here are the increments in which we use to model those temperatures, Fahrenheit and Celsius. If we have medics and nurses inside here, then we let them use 2.5 centimeters for the inch instead of actual 2.45 or 5.4 centimeters. I forget what it is. And you got to specify that. Hey, when the code comes in that one of our nurses did this, that don't be so goddamn nitty-picky about your fucking stitches and how many centimeters it was to stitch you up. It's just a model on how we define the process and protocols. So again, inside here, once we get back to this town map of the Hancock Central School, we're going to have to build some kind of nursery program that gets them up through there, because, this is important. I know daycare was farther down on the list, but this is where CSS gets involved. This is where, the legal issues of domestics become a problem, of Billy later down in life having psychological and sociological issues about what comes down here because they couldn't handle the floating point of how to divide zero when they were a kid. This is something you need to be aware of. They're not going to get that shit, and they won't start getting it until like the letter A and this number times this number, or where is 10 times 10 in this grid right here, that starts making sense to them. Because in a certain way, we have to Pavlovian dog them just a little bit. It gets into these black and white states and first order, hydrogen 4, or helium 4, Bohr models before we start to get into the colors or into the weeds about what that shit is. But first they have to understand this. Left and right, forward and back, up and down, because they're words at this point in time. And it's only because we take advantage of that situation of what is up and how loosely that can be defined as an issue at times, because how down somebody can be because of it. That we have to, as some adult inside here, to somebody in the situation, when I tell them in the board factory, that is what is up and how you are fucking orientated around it. And that is what the A grade is inside here, this whole quantum mechanics process. Look at it. This is just a 1/10th? That doesn't make sense. How the fuck do you logically break that down? 2/10th? Well, it's 12. 13th? 3/10th? You have to teach a kid this before they will ever understand it at that point in time. And it, again, is something we take advantage of out here because we don't fully understand the quantum mechanics. Obviously, there's more to it, but if you want me to get in there and study Bohr in a way that is actually practical sensible, in 21 feet inside here, then I have to train with that officer over a period of time. That is who I'm in the squad car with. As Bunny do on the photon shop here, when it comes to the water treatment facility, did I take everything that was necessary inside here, or am I weak? Because I'd have to go to that site and it would be in very fucking short order before I did it. So be aware.